we circle around a few important territories, with you in these mornings, and territories that we found so helpful and continue to find so helpful in our own practice, and some territories that were significantly absent early on in the first 20 years or so of our practice. One of those is the importance of warming things up in here, the atmosphere, in one way or another. Lightening, brightening, warming, befriending. That posture, that attitude of friendliness. There's that sense of the trance of unworthiness that we've talked about, that Tara Brach has mentioned, that seems to run through our psyches and runs through our culture. The trance of unworthiness. It's really the trance of unlovability, the trance of not quite feeling ourselves worthy of our own love, or maybe not worthy of others also. We still carry the burden of that, I think, moving forward in our lives and in our meditation practice. Whatever it may be, the burden of shame, of regret, of missteps, of things not done well, of self-doubt, that maybe bigger or smaller for each of us, but generally speaking, it's part of a life path. It's part of a significant part of the meditation path, really, is to be encountering that, recognizing it, and rather than doubling down on it or feeling like the answer is to be more controlled, more tight, is how to soften, how to warm, how to begin to believe that we're worthy of that. When are we going to be worthy of that? I want to read you a quote from some of you may be familiar with the Velveteen Rabbit when you were kids. Remember that story? I have a quote here. What is real? Asked the rabbit one day. Does it mean having things that buzz inside you with a stick-out handle? Real isn't how you are made, said the skin horse. It's a thing that happens to you. When a child loves you for a long, long time, not just to play with, but really loves you, then you become real. It doesn't happen all at once. You become. It takes a long time. Generally, by the time you are real, by the time you're loved, feel lovable, feel worthy, most of your hair has been loved off and your eyes drop out and you get loose in the joints and very shabby. But these things don't matter at all, because once you are real, lovable, you can't be ugly except to people who don't understand. And most of us, I love the metaphor of this, most of us, maybe, hopefully, we did get some love, yeah? Even a fair amount of it at times. And maybe we've internalized some of it, but not fully. Not fully, right? And then the task is how do we enhance that? How do we feel ourselves even to be more worthy of love and of loving ourselves, And how do we bring that into the practice? And the absence of that in the practice over many years, for myself, speaking for myself, made it a very dry practice. Yeah, dry and cognitive and controlling. You've heard me do this, if I tighten up more, maybe then I'll find myself to be lovable. Maybe then good things will happen. If I grind more, if I push more, if I get a little rougher with myself, maybe that will lead to love. Now I can imagine that and go, oh, what was I thinking? How could I miss something that now seems so obvious to me that was not the way in? I don't know how it is for you. But even this morning, I was sitting this morning and Let me sit early in the morning here, and I found myself just being just a little cranky with myself, just like, just falling into some old pattern of being more pushy and judgy and critical. I just went, oh, buddy, 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 easy does it. That's one of my mantras, Easy does it, buddy. When I see it, yeah. I love the story that Susan told the other day about Mariah, the therapist who had ALS, who really made the determination one day to make it a practice, not just an epiphany, but a practice, to walk through the world, to begin walking through the world for as long as she would have on the planet, as if already loved, as if she were already loved, already real, already loved. And Susan and I take up that practice more these days. It's a practice. It's not a light switch. Oh yeah, it is a good idea. There are a lot of good ideas that we haven't made practices yet. Because this is one of those that if we don't practice, it's not likely to happen. And so we will encourage you, and we'll play with this today in our meditation, to notice when there's just a little rough edges in there. Notice if it's possible. Notice my hands go like this. Notice it's possible to soften a little bit more, right on the spot, just, to breathe and to work with the breath as if you cared about how you breathe, and you wanted to breathe as if it were a softening, a softening and allowing, a making room kind of breathing, with that kind of intention. See if we can bring that into our practice this morning. Yeah. Okay.